everyone. Bit of a surprise. I haven't been here for a few months, I think now. And I don't really remember what I was up to back then. I think I was doing some upcycling clothing type of thing. Few things, well, lots of things have changed, and I wasn't sure I was going to come back, but I just sort of had this feeling that today that I would turn the camera on and have a chat. So totally unprepared. I sort of just decided like a minute ago, let's do this. I have been doing some freelance knitting designs work, like designing and making up samples, and it's something that I haven't been able to show and won't be able to show, and my name won't be on the designs. So unfortunately I haven't had a lot of knitting that I can show anybody, which is part of the reason I haven't been here, but there's been some other stuff happening as well. There might be some background noise. I have the door open. It's a beautiful sunny spring day, so people are out and about. I also took a break from YouTube for a while because I watch a lot of YouTube videos, subscribe to a lot of YouTube videos, and I was just getting angry is not the right word, but I sort of had to bite my tongue a few times about some of the stuff that was being said, and I was going to make comments. I thought not to do it, but one of the things I did want to talk about was body positivity and size inclusiveness in designing. And I think I've got a couple, like years ago when I first started designing, it was, you know, small, medium and large was basically what you put your designs out as. There might have been an extra large occasionally, but it was limited sizing. And comments from a YouTuber that I was watching during the week got me thinking about, because she was looking back at a pattern from the 80s and saying how it was inexcusable that the sizing was so limited. And I agree with her when I realized what the sizing was on the pattern. It was very limiting. But I thought, are people these days really that much bigger than they were back in the 80s? Were there not so many fat people, oversized people, obese, whatever you want to call it? I remember my own mother was like stick thin, and I was pretty thin as a kid. And it wasn't often that you actually saw anyone that was what we would have described back then as overweight. And I sort of did a bit of research, and I came across something which I can't remember where now, so I can't give you the reference, but it was saying that yes, people are bigger these days, and I forget the percentages, and one of the theories is that because I thought, oh well, it's all to do with fast food, more sugars, blah blah blah, but they've looked into it, and even with the same diet, same sort of exercise, people are bigger, and they think it's to do with gut health, which is really interesting because there's lots of correlations between poor gut health and a lot of other diseases these days. So there's possibly some truth in that. But anyway, to get back to the designing, yes, I think we do need a greater range of sizes in our designs, but I'm not sure where you draw the line. Like, I have designed something that was, I think, had 9 sizes, which is fine, but I couldn't get testers for the last 3 sizes, I don't think. And even though I had an extended period of time for people testing those larger sizes, I just couldn't get anybody. So it took me a while to put the design out, and I have released it. I don't think I've had anyone in those sizes actually knit the design. And I was hesitant to put it out because it's not simply a matter of just grading, making it bigger. There's lots more that go into it, and I've seen some really bad grading decisions made and some bad designs in that upper range of sizes when I've seen them actually on someone's body. And I'm of the opinion that not every design is suitable for every size, which might be an unpopular thing to say. And there's this, you know, like, you should be able to wear what you want, and the term flattering has become unpopular as well, like what is flattering, but I still think that certain designs and the certain fit of some designs is not always flattering on everybody, which could be my age to use that terminology and to say that. But there's things that I won't wear because I don't think they're flattering, and they're also not comfortable on me. And if we weren't worried about how we would look and whether things are flattering, I think we'd all walk around in a Hessian sack of whatever colour we wanted. And that's the problem I see with some designs that are just graded up, following some sort of grading rule. You look at raglan sweaters, quite often there's just increases done at the raglan seam every alternate row. But when you get to a bigger size and you're trying to increase for a bigger bust or even a bigger arm, the actual yoke depth does not necessarily grow at the same rate. And I have seen some poor designs where that is what they've done. So I've been hesitant to do much garment designing, because if I'm going to put a design out that is graded up to say a 5X, I want to know that I'm doing it properly and that it's going to fit properly. And when I don't have a size 5X body and don't know anyone that does and can't get testers, it's difficult to do that. And in saying that, there's also this thing about designers shouldn't just be designing, you know, at either end of the size scale, but also taking into account people's different body shapes. And, you know, you could have someone that's got a large bust but a thinner arm in relationship to the bust, or vice versa, a small busted person that has a bigger bicep. And I'm like, where do you draw the line? Like, how much do you put into a design, the amount of time that it takes, and for what the return is on that design? So these are the sort of things I've been thinking about lately, and I'd be really interested. Hopefully I've explained it, and hopefully I haven't insulted anybody, because that's not my intention. It's just something, like, it's just got me thinking about those things, and they're the things I've been thinking about as I've been looking at doing some more designing. So yeah. So like I said, a lot of knitting I can't show you at the moment. I've also submitted a design to a magazine, and I'm thinking if it's not accepted, that I will probably just design that myself with the aim of publishing it independently. So if that happens, I'll actually take you through that process. That might be interesting for you to see exactly what goes into designing something. Yeah. So what I have been working on that I can show you is my temperature project. I call it temperature project, even though it's sort of looking like a blanket, because it's meant to be like a big shawl wrap type of thing, but it's getting quite big. I've basically been keeping up to date with it, but I'm about 2 weeks behind now because I have run out of one of the colours and it's on back order. I'm using Bendigo Woolen Mills, They're luxury 10 ply, which comes in 200-gram balls. And one of the colours, which is the, can't remember what it's called, ocean blue. That's all I've got left. So I have ordered it. I thought a few weeks ago I may have run out, or it was a possibility that I might have run out if, you know, the weather continued the way it has. But I thought, oh no, I don't want to order another ball just in case, because they are such big balls. But yeah, when I knew that I was going to run out and I went to order it, it's on back order, so I am stuck. I can't do any more until that arrives, but I'll show you where I'm up to. So you can see how big it is. So it's this colour that I've run out, which is what our weather tends to be like the most at the moment. So if I have it on the ground at my feet, it is sort of like nearly to my underarm, and that's in, I think I'm into September, so it'll be, you know, a third of that again. So it will be sort of single bed blanket size, which is, that's fine. The other thing I've been doing is I pulled out my I think it was the Missoni Accomplished was the pattern I used, but then I sort of mashed it up with the striped sweater, which I think is by Andrea Mowry, and I knitted it a while ago and I haven't really worn it much, and I thought about why I wasn't wearing it, and it's a bit too short, so I have pulled back the ribbing. I found some of the yarn that I was using, which is a really soft, I don't have it with me, it's a 5-ply, and I can't even think who it's by now, but if you look at my project on Ravelry, I'm there as Yarn About Yarn. I'm also on Instagram as Yarn About Yarn, so come and give me a follow over there. I think it's called Drover, maybe Drover Classic, and I can't think who the dyer is. So it's in stripes like this. So I pulled back the ribbing and I'm going to add probably another couple of inches. So I've just started, that's where it was, up to this light purpley colour with some ribbing, so it's quite short. Yeah, I did intend it to be cropped to wear with dresses and skirts, but it's just that little bit too cropped, and I think I would rather have an extra couple of inches so that then I can wear it with jeans or whatever I want. So I've been working on that. You might remember last year, my comeback to YouTube then after quite a few years absence was because of the Stephen West MKAL, which I'd done the year before, so 2021, and I did it last year, 2022. And I finished both, I didn't wear them. It's not really shawl weather where I live, but I do travel to Victoria and to Tasmania, so I can wear shawls there. But I think they would, I don't know, they were just, I love knitting them. I think they were just a bit much for me. Like, I'm often in a black t-shirt and a denim skirt, which I've come to realise is my uniform. And I gave both of those shawls away a couple of months ago, and I wasn't going to knit another Stephen West MKAL. Can you guess where this is headed? And also due to me having a lot of stash and the change in my circumstances recently, I want to knit from stash as much as possible. I need to get this down. I'm actually thinking of having a bit of a de-stash on Ravelry, because I've looked through some of my projects, some of my whips, and some of the yarn I've got, and I've realised they're whips, and they've been long-term whips because it's not something I would use or wear. And it was just sort of like a cast on, because I wanted to knit the thing. I didn't want the thing at the end. And they're just taking up space. So I'm looking at what I really want to knit and what yarn I will use, and so I'm looking at having a bit of a de-stash at some stage. But I looked at this year's MKAL, and being a gradient, I thought, yeah, maybe I could do that, but I thought, no, I'll just sit on the sidelines and watch. And then the same thing happened that happened last year, was I watched the Fibre Chats and the Knit 365 collaboration video where they were discussing doing the MKAL and doing the, all the interviews and chats and get-togethers they do over the course of the MKAL. And I thought I wanted to be a part of that again, but it would only happen if I could use stash yarn. So I went through my stash to see if I could find full skeins that worked as a gradient, and I did. I found a couple, and one of them I thought, no, even if the shawl is something I like, I wouldn't wear it in those colours. But then the other 4 skeins that I found, which I think is part of a set of 5 that I may have bought for a Stephen West shawl in the past and didn't use, but I thought those 4 together are very subtle. It's going to be a very subtle contrast, and I would wear it. When I took a photo of the 4 of these together and I put it on Instagram. It's also on my Ravelry. I was concerned about the contrast between colour B and colour C, but I've done my swatch, and now I'm more concerned about the contrast between C and D. I think that's the way it goes, or A and B. Anyway, the 2 lightest ones don't have as much contrast. Here's my swatch. So you can see, like, these 2 don't have a lot of contrast, but in the daylight and when I took the black and white photo, they're actually not too bad, and it will be quite subtle. This is looking very brownish. They are shades of purple, like plummy sort of purple. But yeah, so they're the colours I wear, and it's going to be subtle, so I think I'll be happy with it. But anyway, as it stands, I will be knitting along with this at the moment. So they're my colours, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Stephen has again for us this year. But yeah, and I think that might be all. I've just had a call come in from my phone from my dad, so I'll have to call him back and see that everything's okay there. Yeah, so I think that's it. Just if you've got any comments to make about the whole designing, size inclusivity, body positiveness, let me know. If you're a designer, let me know your thoughts on it, on the grading issues, and whether you have problems getting test knitters. And if you're somebody who is at the larger end, let me know what you think about the whole grading and test knitting, like what your experiences have been. I know there are a few designers out there who tend to specialise more in the larger sizes, and I've seen a couple of their designs and there are some fit issues, but I think that's it across all sizes. There are fit issues unless you know how to adjust a pattern for your own size, which not everybody does, and I don't know whether that should be written into every design, like where do you stop? So anyway, let me know your thoughts on that, and yeah, we'll see how frequently I get back to this again. Okay, bye.